I already have hair just hanging out. Anyway, it's been, ooh, let's not do that. So, hi, my name is Dani, and I am 25 years old, a Scorpio, which means, but in October, I'm an October Scorpio. I love K-pop, I love music in general, I love writing, I love reading, I love talking about music, books, media in general. I love talking about astrology. I know way too much about astrology for someone who is not an astrologist, and I love learning languages like Korean, Greek, Spanish, Japanese. I'm annoying, I know, but also I hope you stick around and watch this video, however long it ends up being, because I am very salty and venty about some of these questions that are very old, and yeah, and also there's a bunch of like there's a bunch of cool links down below, so song recommendations if you're into that, important links like petitions to sign, and cool booktubers that are relevant to one of the questions that I was asked in this booktube newbie tag. And I might be a little salty and a little confused because of some of these questions, so excuse me, but if that's entertaining to you, then this is the video for you. Before I get into this video though, real quick, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has, I'm looking everywhere right now, oh my goodness. I want to say thank you to everyone who has watched my videos, tweeted or retweeted my videos when they come up, and subscribed and things like that. That means a lot to me, especially the people who actually comment, because like that never happens, so that's cool. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I wrote down answers, so if there's weird pauses, it's me. It's 100% me. It's always me. And one, why didn't you start this channel? So this question is weird to me because I started this channel in 2010 or 2011. I was a teenager. I was in high school at the time. So I don't remember why. I probably just wanted to watch YouTube channels. I don't know what do you mean? What do you mean? But the booktube channel itself was started because I wanted a way to communicate more with people who also like books, and to talk about books that I really enjoy, and to rave about my favorite books. And like, I can think of so many books that I really love, and I have like a recommended books list on my Goodreads account where it's just like a place where I can like throw like my favorite 5-star reads and be like, read that because I really enjoyed them and they kind of changed me in some way. And I'm also using this channel as a motivational tool, which I kind of talked about in my first video, where I talked about how I had like an identity crisis and I didn't know if I still liked reading, but I miss reading, and I'm trying to like motivate myself to read more. This is kind of like one of the active ways that I can make myself read more. If my bun is crazy, it's not my fault, it's the hair's fault, so we're just gonna ignore it, okay? Thanks. And now on to question 2. Okay, so question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? I hate this question. It sounds like an interview question. I feel like I'm asking Susan to monetize me. Susan, let me stay. You don't have to monetize me yet, but just like let me stay. Thank you. Anyway, but I'm answering it anyway. So for fun, I have this really cool tag video idea, but I'm holding on to it until more people care about my content, because I'm not giving you something that you're not ready for, you know? I have this really cool like tag idea. So if you like card games, a card game in particular, it's not technically a card game anymore, but that's what it started as, and book tags, it's gonna be the video for you. It's gonna be the idea for you, but that's the only hint I'm giving. You'll have to wait for it. And the second thing is unique to me. So not to get on like the whole diversity and rep and stuff like soapbox, but I feel like my unique identifiers and things like that really are unique to me and my experience and my lived experience, and that really influences how I read, how I rate, how I view, how I receive information in media, and that includes books. But since this is a booktube channel, we're specifically focusing on books here, and how I never really identified with certain things in characters until my late teens, because that's when I started reading Latinx books, because that's when I realized that, oh, there's Latinx authors out there? Like, I didn't even know, because I'm very Americanized, and my mom is very Americanized, so like, you know, and I'm half white, so you would think, but no. But yeah, so like that really influenced influences how I'm going to talk about books, and you know, like why I resonate so much with like some books that, you know, just because it's like, oh, these are my people, you know, like that's something we have in common. I don't know how else to explain that, but that's sort of the unique part. I'm also, you know, there's a lot of people on here who like K-pop, but I, you know, like my love of K-pop, my, you know, the knowledge I have, the limited, very limited, let me emphasize that, very limited knowledge I have of other cultures, my interest in mythology, like those things influence, you know, what the perspectives that I'm bringing to this channel and to the conversations. So that's the fun and unique thing. Question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? Okay, it's not new. I mean, the booktube part is new, but it's not new. I have 2 videos out so far. This is my 3rd. And I think the thing I'm most excited for is about finding my community, which is starting to happen more on Twitter than here. I have like a really good like group of people that we're all mutuals, and we're all hanging out and like living our lives and minding our business, and it's great. And I can send them random tweets and they question me, or you know, we just talk about books, or we like side-eye book Twitter drama sometimes. I am a small channel and like I'm not trying to be an influencer like with like 10 following 10 and like with like 10,000 people following me. So like feel free to like follow me on Twitter and like let's talk and like be friends. Like I'm pretty friendly. I'm just very shy, so I usually don't approach people first, but like I promise I'm fine. Like I'm not gonna run away from you. I'm not gonna like freak out, be like, oh my god, person, and then just like disappear into the woods. Though I miss the woods. I miss the beach, actually. If I'm being honest, I miss the beach. I miss the water. Give her water, she's thirsty. I'm excited to hype up my favorite books. I just talked about this, but like talking about my favorite books is my favorite thing to do. Trying to get people to read the 5th season, in particular. If you are, trigger warning for the content in it, but also just what it is. There's a book called In Order to Live by a North Korean defector, and it's really harrowing, but it's also really, I think it's like an important book to read, so I would like read that. And lastly, creative outlet. I like to write, I like to be creative, I like to do creative artistic things, and this is just another one of those excuses. It's an excuse to do that. I used to edit all the time when I was younger. I loved editing videos. I wasn't so much like excited about this part, like filming, because some of us have physical insecurities, but I do enjoy the editing part, and it's just fun for me. So question number 4, why do you love reading? I put question marks because what do you mean, why do I love reading? Because I love reading. It's such a weird question to me, and I think the reason it's a weird question to me is because I've always loved reading. I was always reading. There was no particular point in time where I didn't like reading, and then suddenly I was like, and then someone like forced me to read a book, or I got introduced into like Twilight or Hunger Games or Harry Potter, and then suddenly I was like, oh, reading is fun, and then like started to read, which I think is a lot of people's experience, and I think that's why this question exists. But for me, I was always reading, you know, so I don't know. But why do I love reading? The actual experience of reading is fun. It's fun for me. Like the actual experience of just like, oh, you know, I'm learning something new. I'm getting a new perspective that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I'm learning about the world in a different way. I'm exploring like mythology, and I'm exploring, you know, fantasy and politics and all of these things that like can be pretty dry if you're just reading like a text version of it, you know, like a textbook version of it. Yeah, and I just like thinking about the world. I love learning about other places. I love learning about other people. Basically, I'm just nosy. I'm nosy. I want to know. I want to experience it. I want a whole new world. But it's not my world. It's your world. I'm dipping in for a minute, and then I'm coming away back to my world. So yeah, that's why I love reading. I don't know if that answered anything. Probably not. We're gonna go with no. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? So I put like the crying face on this because I was like, what? So tentative answers, Dr. Seuss. I had a book that had the SpongeBob theme song in it. Think about it. Think about it for a minute. Anyway, so like I said earlier, I've always been reading. I've always read. I don't remember not reading. Because I learned really early on, and this isn't the case for everybody, but for me, learning to read and learning to write was very natural. It like duck to water completely in it. It was my favorite thing to do. And so like this question is just like, I've always, like, there was no book or series that definitively said, hey, you can read now, like you should read now, you like reading now. It was always the case for me, and that's obviously not always true. I've seen plenty of booktubers on here who are just as valid readers, who got into reading because of Harry Potter, who because of Twilight, because of Hunger Games. Like, regardless of any of those books' issues, like, it just, if it got people into reading, then I'm for it, you know? 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? Okay, I'm a little hesitant to do this because, like, it's scary, but can we be friends? I'm asking nicely. You can say no hard feelings, but like, can we be friends? I'm gonna link everyone down below because there's several people in mind who are like really great booktubers. The specific question is, what question would you ask them? And I'm like, what do you ask? So I personally, and this ties in with the next question that's coming up, but like, personally I've been struggling a little bit with like not trying to make myself become a numbers person, and worrying about like average view time and like people subscribing or people unsubscribing or people watching but not commenting, or like, you know, that stuff. Like, trying to not be in that mindset, because I'm not trying to like grow exponentially and just like be a big booktuber, but I know my content's good, I know I'm good at what I do, and like my thoughts are good. So I'm just kind of like like, how do you balance being a person who makes content on YouTube and like stay good with yourself and like authentic to yourself, and not worry too much about whether people are going to stay or not, is my current thing. I don't know if that question made sense, but that's essentially where my brain's at. 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So I just talked about this like a second ago, but you know, growth versus content, I think it's hard to manage because, again, I made a tweet kind of like thanking everyone, because I'm not trying to be like a big booktuber, like that's not my goal, or like a famous person on YouTube, like I don't care about that, but I also know my content is good. I just popped. I know my content is good, and I do want people to see my work, but I know also that no one is owed watch time, no one is owed, you know, people subscribing, people commenting, people engaging. So I guess I'm just kind of like playing the waiting game right now, and like, okay, I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully people that are down for my stuff are going to stay and find me. So that's a thing that's like going on back and forth in my head. But it's like, if I'm talking to Air, RC said this, and he was like, you know, if I'm talking to Air, like, why would I keep going? And I totally understand that mindset, because it's a weird back and forth in my head. I don't know how to explain this. I'm a little weird. I feel weird about going into this, but the next one is making friends. I don't know how to approach bigger channels or like anybody because I feel like I'm annoying them, but also like, my feet are waking up. Oh my god. So like, you know, I feel like the best way I can describe it is like, I'm walking into a party that's already started and I'm late, and I'm just like an introvert, so I feel like weird jumping into other people's conversations, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. And so I don't know, like, unless someone else just made their book Twitter account or something and like they're pretty new too, it feels weird to approach. I'm also like, yeah, we vibe, like in theory we all vibe, but I'm just like, I don't know anybody at this party, so I'm uncomfortable. That's currently what I'm also struggling with. I'm an introvert, and I'm shy, and I have a lot of trauma related to like people just being mean to me in school, so I'm like still very like skittish, which is my problem. This is no one else's problem. This is me. This is a me problem. And I'll get over it eventually. I always do, but I'm just like, you know? And it's not even that people are mean. Let me clarify. It's not that people are mean. Like, no one's really mean on book Twitter. When did you start reading? Again, what are these questions? When I was a kid. We're moving on. Question number 9. We're getting close to the end. Where do you read? This question confuses me because the phrasing is weird, because where could be like a physical, like where are you physically when you read, and the other where could be just like the location of the book itself, like the format of the book, and I don't know what they mean, so I'm gonna answer it both ways. Physically, I only read in my room or in the living room or just in my house in general. I am an anxious person, and the idea of being lost in a book while there's burglars around me, or just like bugs, because I'm not afraid of bugs, but I don't want them on me, and if I'm outside it's my fault if they're on me because I'm in their space, but if a bug is on me in my house then it's their fault, you know? So like I don't read outside. I don't like to read outside, and I don't like to read in public on my phone. If we're talking about the format, I generally read e-readers because it's so convenient to use Libby and just download a book on my phone, because I'm using my phone most of the time anyway, and otherwise a physical book, which you see that right there, those are unread books, which you'll see next time in the next video, because I'm going to talk about my unread TBR shelf next time. What kind of books do you like to read? Okay, this is a good question. I like this question. So I made a list of like general things because I want to save my like all-time favorite books for like a different video. Fantasy or myth-bent books, and I'm talking about all myths, like myths from different cultures, myths when you think of like European Western like myths. Like I love myths. Grimm's fairy tales is like my jam. Like and like Percy and Jackson, you know, like Norse mythology, fantasy reads, like I love it. That's where I'm at home. Like mermaids, sirens, witches, I love it all. I also like to read realistic fiction, which is total opposite of what I just said. Realistic fiction, which would qualify as contemporary or literary, which I don't know what literary means, but whatever. Fancy contemporary, sapphic, gay rep, LGBT+, essentially. Makes me happy. I love it. The books or any media with found family and like strong like character dynamic, I love that. That's my jam. If you've never, this is not a book, but if you've never seen Kipo, like it's on Netflix, go watch it. It's so good, and it has great found family trope. It's like, while I am happy about like any Black, Indigenous, person of color rep written, you know, own voices, like I love all of that. That makes me so happy in general. As someone who is Latina, it makes me very happy and like seen to read Latinx rep. I was reading We Set the Dark on Fire, and just like little mentions of like kinds of food that is so tied into my childhood, that's even just in a fantasy world, like set on an island, that resonated to me in a different way than like any other fantasy books I've ever read have. It's like the little things, you know? And that's it. That is all. Oh my god, we made it to the end. We made it to the end, boys! I don't know why I keep saying boys, but anyway. And thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way through this video. Oh my god, it's such a beast of a video. Please. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.